Evening, ladies and gentlemen. I welcome you all to Ures 2017 Undergraduate Research Symposium of the Faculty of Livestock, Fisheries and Nutrition, Wayamba, University of Sri Lanka. Our theme this year is Innovations in Foods and Nutrition Research. To mark the beginning of this event, we would like to invite the following distinguished guests to traditional lighting the oil lamp. Professor E.M.P.A. Kanayaka, Vice Chancellor, Wayamba University of Sri Lanka. Keynote speaker, Professor Kapila Gunasekara, former Vice Chancellor, University of Peradeniya, and Director, Plantation Development, Richard Perez Company. Registrar, Wayamba University of Sri Lanka. Dr. M.S.W. De Silva, Dean, Faculty of Livestock, Fisheries and Nutrition. Dean, Faculty of Agriculture and Plantation Management. Dean, Faculty of Applied Sciences. Dean, Faculty of Business Studies and Finance. All the heads of the departments and in charge of Biostatistic Unit, Faculty of Livestock, Fisheries and Nutrition. Coordinator, Undergraduate Research Symposium 2017, Senior Assistant Registrar, Common Support Unit, and a student from 4th year. The University Song.
Lanka, Wayamba Disha, සුජාත ධරණි තලේ සුරංගතු සරසවිදි නිති අපේ අරුන්දති තරුවලසේ ලංකාම්බරයේ අරුන්දති තරුවලසේ ලංකාම්බරයේ සමිඳුන් සිහවිරු වදනින හැම කල් රංජිත වයඹ යසෝරස උරුමය වේ අපගේ උරුමය වේ අපගේ උරුමය වේ අපගේ උරුමය වේ අපගේ මල්පල සම්පත වොරඳන කෙත්වතු අස්වනු ඉසුරින් සපුරන නෙක් විදු නැන දහරින් දය ඔබයන මෙහෙවර වේ අපගේ මෙහෙවර වේ අපගේ මෙහෙවර වේ අපගේ මෙහෙවර වේ අපගේ ශ්‍රී ලංකා වයඹ දිසා සුජාත ධරණි තලේ සුරංගතු සරසවිදි නිති අපේ අරුන්දති තරුවලසේ ලංකාම්බරයේ අරුන්දති තරුවලසේ ලංකාම්බරයේ මහගත පෙරලා ඉසිවර නැන සමුදා සදාලන සරසවි මෞනි අපේ නව චින්තනයේ උල්පත් මතු කොට නව ලෝකය වෙත පියවර තබනු විවරණ දුන මැනවි 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 විවරණ දුන මැනවි
Thank you all. Now we invite the following distinguished guests to the head table. Professor E.M.P. Ekanayaka, Vice Chancellor, Keynote Speaker, Professor Kapila Gunasekara, Dr. M.S.W. De Silva, Dean of the Faculty, Registrar, Wayamba University of Sri Lanka, and Coordinator, Ures 2017. Thank you. Now, I would like to take this opportunity to invite Ms. Rishida to give out the welcome speech.
Distinguished guests, eminent scientists, ladies and gentlemen, and colleagues. It gives me a great pleasure to welcome you all to the 5th Undergraduate Research Symposium of the Faculty of Livestock, Fisheries and Nutrition, Wayamba University of Sri Lanka. It's with my humble pride I stand behind the podium on this memorable day on which our blooming research efforts unveil. To enhance our joy, we are extremely blessed to have the ideal audience from universities, research organizations, government, and from industry. On behalf of the faculty, let me extend my warm welcome to the chief guest of the event, Professor E.M.P. Ekanayaka, the Vice Chancellor of Wayamba University of Sri Lanka. Sir, we are honored to have your presence here with us today. It's my great pleasure to welcome Professor Kapila Gunasekara, Director, Plantation Development, Richard Peris and Company, who will be the keynote speaker today. Your reputation and contribution for the research and extension very well matches the theme of Ures 2017, the innovations in food and nutrition research. Thank you for accepting our invitation and being here with us today to encourage these young researchers. Let me extend another warm welcome to the Registrar, Wayamba University of Sri Lanka, Dr. M.S.W. De Silva, Dean of the Faculty, invitees from various organizations, academic staff, administrative staff, and non-academic staff. We are delighted to have your company at Ures 2017. I would also like to take this opportunity to welcome our valued sponsors, without whom the event would not be quite glamorous. Finally, let me cordially invite our home crew, the organizing committee, my colleagues from third year and final year, and all others who are present here today to strengthen our efforts. Once again, it's my pleasure and honor to welcome you all to this symposium, and I wish you all a productive day at Ures 2017. Thank you.
Thank you, Rishda. Now, I would like to invite Dr. M.S.W. De Silva, Dean, Faculty of Livestock, Fisheries and Nutrition, to address the gathering.
Good morning to you all. Chief guest today's symposium, Professor E.M.P. Ekanayaka, the Vice Chancellor, Wayamba University of Sri Lanka. Keynote speaker, Professor Kapila Gunasekara, former Vice Chancellor of University of Peradeniya. Deans of the faculties, registrar, heads of departments, distinguished invitees, academic staff members, researchers, administrative officers, and non-academic staff members and students. Ladies and gentlemen, so let me first, on behalf of the Faculty of Livestock, Fisheries and Nutrition, extend my warmest greeting to everyone gathered here at the inauguration ceremony of the Undergraduate Research Symposium, Ures 2017. At this very important moment, I also wish to congratulate all the students whose research outcome is the focal point here today. Indeed, I am glad and honored to speak a few words at this inaugural ceremony of the 5th Ures. The Ures, in fact, has evolved over last 5 years and has become the most glamorous annual event in the faculty. Ures is a platform for final year students to demonstrate their higher order academic skills. Not only that, the activities of Ures also reflect social engagement and social responsibility of the faculty. In addition, this event also provides an opportunity for students to share with the interested parties their research findings. Moreover, this event helps the faculty promote and induce research interest in students. So we have seen faculty infrastructure development happening over the years, and academics and students engaging creatively and effectively in research in casting the faculty image in the research arena. Today, the research component of undergraduate programs is well organized and more directed towards addressing national needs and issues. So we have observed students grow gradually and improve their knowledge and skills as they progress through different levels in education at the faculty. In that sense, this research symposium is yet another event reflecting the development of skills in our students. So student research projects which are lined up today to be presented at the technical sessions cover subject areas of human nutrition, aquaculture and fisheries, food science and technology, and livestock and avian sciences. So undergraduate research projects of the curricula is a powerful teaching and learning model at the faculty, and also this approach is supportive of future learning and career focus of students. In implementing this approach, the faculty staff does their role best in guiding and assessing undergraduates in research projects. I believe that this symposium has benefits for all, including university community, institutions and food industry, as food and nutrition go with everyday life. So in this respect, the faculty's research in food and nutrition is of great value to the country. Staff and students, especially third and fourth year students, are very actively involved in organizing this symposium. I take this opportunity to thank the staff of the faculty actually for their encouragement and insight in realizing the importance of having a research symposium for undergraduates. I would also like to extend my sincere appreciation to a symposium committee led by Dr. Sharmila Jayathilaka, and the editorial committee led by Dr. Dilip De Cruz for all their efforts made to bring the Ures to 2017 a reality here today. So let me take this opportunity to address final year students. Dear students, today it is a big and memorable day in your undergraduate education here in the faculty. Someday in future, when you look back and see how you led your education here at your home faculty, I am sure that you will identify the research project and the Ures Day are the major milestone in that process. So keep in mind, you have taken initiative to carry out research, and this capacity to take on opportunities will be important throughout your life. The key element that brought your success in the research work is the constant interaction with your supervisors. So I wish to congratulate both you and your supervisors on the research work that you have completed successfully. We hope your current research work encourages you and the staff to embark into research on a large scale. I hope that Ures 2017 would accomplish all its aims, and the symposium would enrich the teaching and learning process of the faculty further. So before winding up my speech, I would like to mention that today's symposium, more than just the fifth in a series, it is more significant to me because I had the privilege to attend all 5 symposia as the Dean of the Faculty. In addition, today, it is more prominent thing is here today, we have 2 former Vice Chancellors, Professor T.H. Fonseca and Professor Sumitra Jayasekara, along with the present Vice Chancellor, Professor E.M.P. Ekanaik. I think it's an important thing that to get you 3 all in one forum. So it is also my pleasure to note the presence of some of our retired senior academics in the audience today. Actually, you are still serving the faculty. So the students are lucky to get your service and the exposure. So the faculty is in fact happy and honored to have you all here in one forum, and we know that you are equally happy to be with us today. So in concluding my speech, I wish you all a fruitful time at the symposium and enjoy the settings here in the faculty. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. It's a great pleasure for me to invite our chief guest, Professor E.M.P. Ekanayaka, Vice Chancellor, Wayamba University of Sri Lanka, to speak a few words.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I will make sure that I will speak as few words as possible and also not speak any of the three words at my best: livestock, fisheries and nutrition, because that is the least familiar words for me for the time being, and when it is, especially this gathering is surrounded by genuine experts in that field. Today's keynote speaker, Professor Kapila Gunasekara, and the Dean of the Faculty, Dr. Cicera de Silva, and Dr. Abhay and Dr. Perra, the other deans, and the symposium coordinator, and all heads of departments, and my senior Vice Chancellor colleagues, Professor Jayasekara and Professor Fonseca, and our council member, Mr. Bandulu Jayasinga, all academics and administrative officers, students and presenters, ladies and gentlemen. I was wondering over the last few days since I received this invitation what I can talk on a symposium of this nature, because that is totally academically on the opposite side of mine. Yet I have to ensure that I at least manage to attend at least these faculty level events held once a year. So that's why I am here. And of course, when I recall my knowledge on livestock, fisheries and nutrition, we all are used to one thing, that is consuming all this livestock, fisheries and not knowing any nutritional aspects until recently. Now, being in the university, I am aware that a lot of our own academic colleagues not aware of the nutritional aspects or the good nutritional habits when we just notice the way they consume their regular diets and so on. Now, I have a regular habit of visiting the open market for years, not because the items are cheap there. Items are cheaper now in the big supermarkets like Kills and all these food cities, but I have a particular interest in going to the open market over the weekend. That is something a habit I developed over the last years for one or two reasons. First, of course, the first thing is that when you visit an open market for a long time, you get to know some people. And of course, in Kurunegala side, there is a diverse background of vendors coming from the urban sector and also from the village sector. So there are a lot of vendors from diverse backgrounds. So when you start talking to them, and of course I found that especially when they rightly predicted the outcome of the elections, general election, presidential election, when they exactly predicted the outcome, then I of course had a lot of confidence in them rather than going by all these scientific based statistics. They are the right people who read the pulses of the nation. When you move closer to them, of course they will tell you all sorts of things, right from their problems and everything. And that's where we learn that just a few kilometers away from the main roads or from the urban areas, most of the people are living in poverty. They do not know how to even raise this cattle farming, all these things. I mean, they simply do not have the know-how. And then when we talk to the officers in the places like provincial councils, these officers live with them. They have very good contacts with the village people, but the officers, they do not have the technical know-how that the university academics are having. So that is an area where I saw that we can make a little contribution, little bit of your knowledge, if you can extend through these official channels down to the village folk, and that if you can make a little change in the lives of the ordinary village people, so that you can draw a lot of satisfaction through such activities. Livestock, I just learned just a few days ago that it is livestock. Nearly to my knowledge, now I have got to learn certain things, at least before I come to the next symposium. So for the time being, I learned that this is a sector that contributes nearly the 1.2% to the gross domestic product, followed by 1.8% to the contributed by the fisheries sector. But still, now for the ordinary people, when the fisheries products are consumed, I can remember some years ago there were these formalin issues, but still there is no fish left in any of the fish with any of the fish vendors, and people do not care. People do not care about the negative aspects of all these the good health habits and then the nutritional habits, so that even at the university level, you can give publicity and educate the university colleagues first, and then if possible through your research outcomes, I invite you to make a contribution to the most deserved people, those who are living in the underprivileged areas. And that is what they do expect when they come to know that we are in a educational institute. They will tell all of their problems, and they want to know whether we could extend some helping hand to them. So just like we are in other fields, when we extend academically at school levels and so on, I think because of the practical nature of your areas, this agriculture and then livestock, fisheries and nutrition, being practical nature, you are very much closer to the people than we are, so that I invite you to extend whatever you can to these village people to make a change in their lives. And today's I came to know from the Dean, Dr. Fisheries Silva, that there are some student presenters, so that is a good outcome of your work, I believe, because even the government is promoting the research inventions even at school level. And recently there was a complaint that established universities are making less research output than the research output at the Kothala Defence Academy, so that in that sense, taking your research work down to even to school level, training some school students is a good sign. And I also congratulate the presenters today for their findings, and also the work done by the academic staff and the faculty in getting this event organized. And of course, I will extend our fullest administrative support to this kind of events, and I wish you all the best. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Now, I would like to invite Coordinator Ures 2017, Dr. S. Jayatilaka, to introduce the keynote speaker, Dr. Kapila Gunasekara.
Good morning. As the coordinator of the Undergraduate Research Symposium 2017, it's a great honor to introduce our keynote speaker, Professor Kapila Gunasekara, former Vice Chancellor, University of Peradeniya, Director, Plantation Management, Plantation Sector at Richard Peary's and Company, and my teacher, of whom I carry great respect. Professor Gunasekara completed his basic degree in agriculture at University of Peradeniya, MSc in Soil and Water Engineering at AIT Thailand, and his PhD in Environmental Science and Engineering at Virginia Polytechnic and State University, USA. Since his first appointment as a senior lecturer at Agriculture Engineering Department, University of Peradeniya, his career extends for 32 years up to now of teaching, research and inventions, administration and consultancies. Professor Gunasekara has held many responsibilities as a chairman of Sri Lanka Foundation Institute, Dean, Faculty of Agriculture, University of Peradeniya, member of many important authorities, a few to mention. He is an eminent figure in the country's national development in research, UGC standing committees for agriculture, veterinary science, medicine and animal science, advisory committees and so on. He is an inventor with many patents obtained for inventing low-cost portable sprinkler systems and many electronic sensor devices. A member of many professional bodies at national and international levels, he serves as a resource person in national education field, in curriculum development and trainings, and he's also a consultant in many international projects along with FAO, NORAD, and USAID, mainly in relation to irrigation and water management. On a final note, he's a good teacher, a fascinating person, and we are grateful for his presence today at our most important event of the year. I invite you, sir, Professor Kapila Gunasekara, to deliver his speech. Over to you, sir.
Ayubowan, good morning, Vanakkam. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. First, let me thank the organizers of this event, research sessions, for inviting me for this occasion. Vice Chancellor, Professor Ekanayaka, members of the Council, Deans of the faculties, former Vice Chancellors, members of the academic staff, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. In fact, it is my pleasure and privilege to be present here today, particularly because when the organizers gave me the topic, food and nutrition research, I was thinking about why is it so important? And also, why me? I don't know anything about nutrition. I don't know anything about food other than irrigation and engineering. But then later on I thought to myself, maybe there is something which I must talk about. Actually, when we look back, during the last 3 years when we had a serious drought, suddenly we have come to understand that we are facing a serious food security problem. 3 droughts, 4 droughts, or 3 years of drought in the northeastern areas have really forced us to import rice, which is our staple diet. Starting from there, if you look at it, the second part of it is the samurdhi holders we have in this country, the number of poor people, and the malnourished rural population. But most important than that is the malnourished and undernourished university students. Because when I was a vice chancellor, the one thing I realized was that the food they are eating is not fit for university students. Because when we were students, how the university treated us, I know. And what kind of food was given to us during those heydays. And actually, in a university, the students have to have a well-nourished, the nutritious and well-balanced food if they are to think properly. Part of the problems in the university system I always attribute to this condition, because this was my personal experience. I have seen students who have eaten very little things in the morning and come into the lecture and then fainting. So forget about the rest of the country, look at the university system. So nutrition is an important area for all of us to be concerned with. Right? Given this topic, I thought to myself, I will first talk about innovations. Then I thought, since I am talking to the university students, I thought maybe I will talk a little bit about the attributes we expect from a university student. Then I will really go into the subject matter, which is food and nutrition research. Having said that, well, this was the topic that was given to me by, where is she? She's over there. Anyway, and I was very happy that it was given to me, and it took me some time. I actually, since I didn't know much about it, I searched for information and I got fair amount of actually innovations. Later on I will show it to you. It is not within my presentation, because when I try to embed those YouTube presentations, when the presentation runs, it doesn't run. So I had to get out of the presentation and then separately show you the innovative things that people have done. So be patient with me, I will go through this whole thing. Now, the first question to ask is, what is innovation? So I looked at the Oxford Learner's Dictionary. That's the best one to know, no? There are 2 types of innovation: the uncountable innovation, the introduction of new things, ideas, or ways of doing something. It's original. Right? Original thinking and original inventions, like the light bulb. Later on, there are innovations to improve the light bulb. Then that's the second kind, countable. So these are the 2 different kinds of innovation that is there, whether it is research, design, or anything that you can consider. Having said that, now I will move on to the attributes of a university student. Before that, I will move on to something very interesting. A university student should be curious, because curiosity leads to observation. If you observe something, then you have questions. You ask questions. Einstein says, question everything. You can't simply accept just because somebody said so. You question it, and then there are two kinds. You start thinking, isn't it? You question, then you start thinking, how come? What is it? Why should it be so? You have to now answer these things, then you start thinking. The thinking is also, there are two kinds of thinking. One is the creative thinking, the other one is what? Creative thinking and critical thinking. Because both these attributes are very, very important for a university student. Most of the time what I notice is that they don't have critical thinking. They don't question anything. Sometimes they simply being guided by others to do things sometimes. So when you look at these two kinds of thinking, you can actually compare them. Left brain, right brain things. Critical thinking is analytic, creative thinking is generative. One, critical thinking is convergent, creative thinking is divergent. In fact, you have many, many ideas. When you actually have critical thinking, you are looking for one solution, whereas creative thinking will look at many solutions, because all roads lead to Mecca, so there are many roads. So what you want to find out in analytical thinking is the shortest possible. But whereas creative thinking will look at all possible routes and find out what fits the best, not necessarily the shortest. Then the kind of thinking is vertical and lateral. What we need to actually start thinking is lateral thinking, so that you will encompass many things rather than going right down. And critical thinking depends on probabilities, whereas creative thinking will look at possibilities. And critical thinking is judgmental, whereas creative thinking suspends judgment, because there are many, many different things to consider. Critical thinking, focused. Creative thinking is diffuse, because you think of many things. In the nights when you dream things. Most of the time the inventors, real inventors, are dreamers, and they look at all possible solutions for a problem, whereas critical thinker will only look at what is best. Critical thinking is very objective, whereas creative thinking is very subjective. You cannot actually give it a form, but it is there. Always look for an answer, whereas this is only an answer, because there are many. Then critical thinking is left brain, creative thinking is right brain. Left, right, combination of the brains, and what you need to have is a balance between the two. You can't be too creative, because then you won't be getting anything done. But when you are a critical thinker, you will get something done. One is verbal, creative thinking is always visual, because you have to visualize solutions to a problem. Whereas the other one, you keep talking about the thing analytically and finally arrive at a solution. And then critical thinking is linear, creative thinking is always associative. It's good to know these differences, because then we can become one of those or get the balance of the two. Then critical thinking goes with reasoning, whereas creative thinking goes with richness and novelty. You're looking at new things. Can this be done in another way? Is there a better way to do this? Always think of that. There is always a better way. And lastly, the answers are always yes, but, whereas here, yes, and. So it's very interesting how we should be trying to develop these two possible abilities which we have as a human being. So the great scientist Albert Einstein, I have always inserted him in here. Imagination is the highest form of research, because you can visualize without damaging anything. Rather than trying to do something, you can visualize things before you actually translate it into action. Then attributes of university students. Ability to observe a given situation. First is the observational power of a person. Do you observe things? If I ask you today morning when you are walking to work, how many of you heard, how many birds have you heard? I'm asking. And most of the time I don't think none of you have heard any bird, because you have shut them out and you are just walking, thinking about work and this seminar today. There must have been many birds singing, but you never heard them. For the simple reason you are not paying attention. Right? Ability to analyze a given situation. I would like to question the university students whether they really do analyze situations before they jump into conclusions and sometimes arrive at certain actions. They have to seriously think of what they are doing and why they are doing so. Then ability to rationalize arguments. Rather than just listening to somebody, you have to form your own rational arguments in your own mind. And then ability to synthesize new information when you look at other information. Isn't it? You should be able to synthesize additional information. And that is where your creativity comes, by generating new knowledge. And lastly, ability to have independence of thought. Just because somebody says so, you are not going to do things. You are going to think for yourself, and you are going to take a decision, a rational, responsible decision. And that is the quality of a university student. An ordinary person? No. They will follow like rats. But I don't think a university student should do that. They have to argue out things, be sure in their own minds as to what they should be doing. That's it. Now I have finished attributes of a university student. Now I am getting into the field of this food and nutrition research. And as I mentioned earlier, why it is so important? Because part of the problem in this nation is our food security. Right now, most of the things we eat, we are importing. Take sugar, take rice, take many other things like even dry fish and sprats. Import. Even chilies. And dal. One of the famous things, parippu nathi hoteleyak naha kiyala kiyana, dal nathi jeevithe parippu nathi hotele wage kiwama, parippu is the most important thing. And this parippu is also being imported. Given this situation, can we actually be satisfied that we are secure in our food requirements? No. And therefore, it is very, very important that we do more research to find out ways and means of assuring this food security for a nation. All the other countries, if you look at Japan, they pay a very premium price for rice production in Japan. Why? They are more concerned about the food security of the country. What about us? We would rather import it, saying that, well, cost of production is too high, therefore there is no need to produce it here, it's cheap, we can import it. But one fine day, they will realize that when the world market price goes up, we have no money to pay. Then what are you going to do? We will be living with hunger. So it's very, very important. Then innovations in food and nutrition research. What are these innovations we can make? Why innovate? I remember once we were trying to make bread out of rice flour. Ridiculous idea, because they have two different qualities. Why only rice? Why bread? Actually, when you look at this self-sufficiency talk which we always hear from the government, we are not really self-sufficient. If you look at the wheat imports and the rice production in this country, both has gone up. But the wheat imports have also proportionately increased. To me, I always consider this country a self-sufficient country the day we stop wheat imports and substitute that with rice. Because at tremendous cost we are importing those things from the foreign market. Innovations in food and nutrition research should consider improving or preserving nutrition values of food. One area which we can work on, nutritional value. When you cook, sometimes we lose the nutritional value of some of the foods. Sometimes the way we preserve also, we lose nutritional value of the foods. Sometimes what we do as additives are not very good for your own health. For example, if you take corned beef, there is so much of potassium chloride applied to it. Isn't it potassium chloride? Maybe, yes. Certainly, people have found that it's a carcinogenic thing. Well, but we have been eating it. Sorry, I went back. Next one is improving consumer appeal. Sometimes how many of you are old enough when we had the hal polla and all those things, the restrictions in 1970s, early 70s? And how many of you remember the rice we ate, the smelly rice? When you were cooking, everybody knows that you are cooking rice because it was so bad smelling. Today, at least things have improved to a greater extent, partly because of the research we have done, partly because of the quality consciousness of people. Consumer appeal is one of the most important things because consumer will pay for better quality foods and nutritious foods. For example, if you go to a supermarket today, I will just quote one vegetable, leeks. What are you buying? Roots and the stem of the leaf, the leek. But if you really take it home and try to clean it, you will see cow dung also inside the leaves. Totally unclean product, and you are actually paying for useless things like roots. So they don't really clean it, they don't really remove the roots. So you are paying unnecessarily for something which is totally, I will not say valueless, because now it is up to you to find out what to do with those roots. That's research. Okay, it's a waste, but what are you going to do with it? You have to have some use. Are you going to make compost? Or are you going to make, I don't know, take the lignin out of it and do something different? That's your baby. Improving consumer affordability. I mean, we can do lots of research and come up with products, but if the poor fellow can't pay for it, what good is that? Isn't it? People should be able to afford whatever we find. Then reducing waste and utilization of waste, which is one of the most important things, because recently, I think 2015 was a crisis year for us when it came to garbage, isn't it? Kunu kandu, hodagana wattanawa, kadagana wattanawa, මිනිස්සු යට වෙනවා, people are dying because of garbage. And all this is going out from homes of people. What to do with these things? How do you do this? I mean, we wait until it becomes a mountain to solve the problem. Part of our culture. Then, healthy nutritional preservation of foods. Over time, we have found that certain additives to foods are not very good for your health. Then how do you preserve food so that it will not affect your health but still keep the nutritional values of the food? Good area to research. New forms of food. I once visited Kansas State University. There was this lady professor. She had 60 patients for making spaghetti. Different forms of spaghetti. 60 patents. I can ask, how many patents do we have? Improving storage life and keeping quality. Later on I will quote some examples. It's very interesting because I was working for Biofoods for 1 year and I was looking at coconut milk, where we are using a lot of heat and making it into a powder and then again adding water and making coconut milk. Is there a better way to do it? I will later on discuss. So Einstein says, look deep into nature, then you will understand things better. Actually, in nature itself, there are lots of solutions to the problems that are there. Thousands of years, millennia, millions of years, nature had been at work, but we have been only a microsecond compared to that time. So nature has solutions in itself, but only thing is, are we looking at nature? And how nature solves problems. Sometimes people have looked at it, and that's how the pheromones came into controlling insects, right? So there are ways and means of looking at nature. How many of you know that lime and moringa can be preserved in a sandbox? That was something that was being done by our ancients, a sandbox. You don't need refrigerators. You don't need, and you can keep it for a long time. And the good old Duma, which is now going out of fashion because of the gas, also served a purpose at one time. Few possible areas of food and nutrition research. Again, I am looking at lignin is unexploited dietary fiber component present in cereal waste. Food waste as a protein feed. Technological potential of vegetable waste. What can you do with this? Alternative food wrapping and packaging. Now that the polythene is being banned, the lunch sheets are being banned, well, the students have a good way of, I need to do research now, because you can now come up with organic material for wrapping food, presenting food. It has become very, very important. And also very lucrative, because it will provide you economic value also, if you can actually market it. Then microbiology in waste disposal. Fermentation of all these sort of refuse bananas, and can you make wine out of it? And what microbiology is involved in that, and how do you make it so that there is consumer appeal and consumer preference. Value addition to natural foods and beverages. Now I am coming to this tea and coconut, right? Long time, I will tell you the story of tea also. Now tea, if you look back, because now that I am involved in the plantation sector, I know it. For the last couple of 10 years, 15 years, we have been getting $4 and everybody is so happy. $4. Because we are going through the brokers, and brokers will only pay us $4. Whereas, there are middlemen in the process of value chain up to the supermarkets who will make much more money than our planters or the plantation companies. So we are happy with these $4, whereas they are making $25 gains by simply adding value or simply doing a transaction. Now how do we get out of this? I have been always advocating, get out of these brokerages, right? How do you get out of it? Because now it's a big mafia-like thing. You can't get out of it. They control it. So what you do is you do value-added products. Then you don't have to go through the brokerages. So, my dear students, there are plenty of areas in which you can add value to tea and many other products which we produce. Then I will talk about coconut also, because I said I will talk about it, this coconut milk business. In fact, they were exporting coconut milk in cans, and what they were doing was to squeeze the coconut oil with water, coconut milk with water. Unfortunately, this separates. Even at home, if you actually get the coconut milk and keep it for some time, the cream will separate from water. Now that does not have consumer appeal. So you have many rejects. So what do they do to keep this in suspension? They keep adding guava gum and then keep centrifuging it and then heat treating it, and then it discolors it, right? So again you lose consumer appeal, and then there are many rejects. So I was thinking to myself, my God, what are we doing? Why don't we simply, without adding, squeeze the coconut and get the cream as a suspension, and then pack it, concentrated form, with minimal heat treatment so that you do not lose nutrition values. So there are plenty of ways and means of doing things. And you can actually pack it in a bag-in-a-box package so that you open the tap, the milk comes out. Then you give them a dilution factor, and the shelf life is also fairly long because this bag-in-a-box valve does not allow air to go in, because it's packed in plastic bags and the bag collapses due to atmospheric pressure. So you don't need refrigerators. Thing is, who has done it? I was trying to get Biofoods to do it, but then I had to get out. They didn't like that idea. Then it comes to the question of making mistakes. We all do mistakes. A person who never made a mistake, never tried anything new. That finishes my presentation. But I will show you 3 or 4 things. The last one will be inspirational. First one, I can't go into the presentation, but this is an innovation.
සමභාවය සහ නිෂ්පාදනය කරන ආපවල තියෙන ගුණාත්මක භාවයේ හිඟකම නිසා පාරිභෝගිකයාට ආපවල නියම රස වින්දනය කරන්න අවස්ථාවක් නැති වෙලා යනවා.
Takes a little bit of time because it's embedded. Bear with me because these things get stuck sometimes. Technology always doesn't work the way we like. Now this is innovation again. Original invention, innovation of how to present it to the market. All hoppers are same size, same quality, beautiful. So you saw both kinds of innovation in this one slide. First one is the original inventor invented something which looks pretty crude. Then it was refined, new idea, how to present it to the consumers. Beautiful. So both innovations are now here, you can see. Only unfortunate thing is I have never seen this at Jinadasa, so any of these places where they are making hoppers, this machine I have not seen. What does it tell you? It's not afforded by the consumer. I mean, consumer can't afford it, or the shops can't, maybe the price is too high. Then I will go to the next one. This is a student research. Oh, it's coming back to the same thing again. This internet sometimes doesn't work the way we like it to work, but it will come. creative the students were? But I understand the problems the university students, we don't have the money to do the kind of research they do. This is fun, this one, for housewives.
Alright, so this fun device, you just take your apple. And you press it down onto the spiky bits, and then you just start turning the lever, and the knife will auto-adjust and cut the peel away from the apple just like this. Or if you happen to have a round potato, it could do that too. Okay, so just keep turning, and then you can take your apple that's been peeled off of it, and now you can slice it up. But it would be too difficult to slice this with a knife. So I got this funny little device that you just press down, and it separates the slices of apple from the core directly, so you can just pluck them out just like this, and there's no hassle. So I'm just going to remove all these now. Now I happen to also know that they make one of these for melon, and I have that, so I'm going to show you that next.
This tells you that don't buy everything you see in telecine marketing.
Take two. Oh! I should force this thing. Nope, that didn't work. God. This is not sharp enough. Maybe it just doesn't work on this kind of melon. Oh crap! Forget that. This is important consumer information. Sometimes gadgets just don't work. Alright, so this is a great device. You just put it down on the table and turn the lever, and it creates a suction onto the table that holds it in place. Then you place your apple into it sideways, just like this. Spiky bits, and then you just start turning the lever, and the knife will auto-adjust and cut the peel away from the apple just like this. Or if you happen to have a round potato, it could do that too. Okay, so just keep turning, and then you can take your apple that's been peeled off of it, and now you can slice it up. But it will be too difficult. And turn the lever, and it creates a suction onto the table that holds it in place. Then you place your apple into it sideways, just like this.
It's getting stuck there. I think it's going to take a little bit more time, but it's actually fun to see that also. There are two more items, but I will knock it off. Otherwise it takes too much of time. The last one I actually want to show you is bit inspirational for the students. Sorry, I will show you that actually you have to see that. That's inspiration to the I just want to show you that these are things which are possible. Possibilities is, what kind of thinking is that? Presentation which I wanted to show you was the how it started and what happened in early childhood where it was detected by the society, and then as a university student he actually got selected to Princeton University but then dropped out, and then he went and did what? Who started PayPal? It was Nikola Tesla. And he started that, and then he got kicked out from that company also. Just like what happened to Steve Jobs in Apple. And then he went and did something different. He wanted to send rockets because he made some money out of PayPal, and he wanted to send his own rocket because he was interested in rockets, and failed miserably. But finally, and he was at that time having the Tesla car also, being in the drawing board. And he was putting a lot of money from Tesla into this rocket thing, and finally the fourth time he succeeded after many failures. And then in the verge of collapse, the investors came in because he succeeded. And today, his net worth is $20.8 billion US. And the car he has introduced, which can do 300 kilometers on one charge, is something we have to, that will come in the future to this country too. We already have a few here. Only rich people can afford it because it's too expensive. The inspiration that comes out of that man is he never gave up. He kept on trying, irrespective of the difficulties he had. That was the quality of a good researcher, a person who believes in his abilities. So, my dear students, let me take this opportunity to wish you all the best, and also today start thinking that you have that capacity and believe in yourself. Sky is the limit. I mean, I am standing in front of you. I was like you. I never thought I will enter the university. I never thought I will become a university lecturer. I never thought I will become a dean of a faculty. I never thought I will even become a vice chancellor. But when the opportunity came, you just took it. That means you have it in you. So with that, let me take this opportunity to thank everybody. Thank you very much for your patience.
Thank you, sir, for sharing your valuable insight on innovation in food and nutrition research. Now, I would like to invite Vice Chancellor Professor E.M.P. Ekanayaka to give the token of appreciation to the keynote speaker, Professor Kapila Gunasekara. Thank you, sir. Each year, a young inventor is appreciated at the Ures by awarding the Best School Inventor of the Year. I would like to invite Dr. Saman Wijayasekara to introduce the Best School Inventors selected for the year 2017.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, my dear students. There is a saying that no development without invention. So it is my great pleasure to introduce Best School Inventors 2017. Ures 2017 marked the awarding of Best School Inventor for the second time this year. This is done with the sole intention of appreciating our young school inventors in the field of sciences. This year, we have two students from the science stream of SDS Jayasinha Central College, Dehiwala, Ravindu Sankalpa Pereira and Shehan Kaviskar. These two students clinched the first place in the science and research project organized by the National Science Foundation ahead of 800 schools which participated. Winning the second spot in Sri Lanka Science and Engineering Festival. Sankalpa and Kaviska, who represented Sri Lanka in the Earth and Environmental Science category at Intel International Science and Engineering Fair 2017. Held at Los Angeles, California, won the fourth place in a competition participated by 1,700 from 78 countries for their project based on removing carcinogenic chromium ions from our natural water sources. In addition to that, these two students were awarded with the Mahibas Special Recognition Award. They were able to achieve this great success with the continuous help and advices of their teacher in charge, Mrs. Gaini Samarasinghe, and their supervisor, Dr. Mithika Vidanagi, who works in the National Institute of Fundamental Studies, which is based in Kandy. I would like to add that Sankalpa and Kavishka are two students who have proven that talent can be found in every school and that each school is worth its weight in gold as long as the school has a principal with good leadership qualities, dedicated teachers and hardworking students. I would cordially invite the Dean of the Faculty to accompany the Vice Chancellor of Wayamba University of Sri Lanka to give the awards and certificates to our best school inventors for the Ures 2017. I also cordially invite our best school inventors, Ravindu Sankalpa Pereira and Shehan Kaviska to the stage.
Thank you all. This is the time to present proceedings to the guest. On behalf of the Editor-in-Chief, Dr. M.D.S.D. Cruz, I would like to invite Dr. Anoma Chandrasekara, an editorial committee member, to present the proceedings. Thank you all. We have come to the end of the inauguration ceremony of the Ures 2017. I would like to invite Mr. Dinuka to give away the vote of thanks.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's a great honor for me to propose the vote of thanks Ures 2017. First and foremost, I would like to thank Professor E.M.P. Ekanayaka, the Vice Chancellor of Wayamba University of Sri Lanka, our chief guest today. We are truly grateful for the support you extended to Ures 2017 and being here as the chief guest to grace this event. A special note of gratitude is extended to Professor Kapila Gunasekara, the keynote speaker of the event, for accepting our invitation and sharing his valuable insights on a timely topic. We are sincerely thankful to Dr. M.S.W. Silva, the Dean of the Faculty, for facilitating the event and encouraging us throughout this period. Thank you very much, sir, for your enormous cooperation, and we are indeed fortunate to have your guidance. I also wish to thank the academic, administrative, non-academic and supportive staff of the university for their assistance in facilitating and organizing this event. An event like this would not be a reality if it was not for the generous financial support provided by our valuable sponsors. So, on behalf of the organizing committee, let me take this opportunity to thank all the sponsors of Ures 2017. Ures Symposium is the most attractive and glamorous event of the faculty calendar. It would not be possible for us to have such a memorable experience without the organizing committee. So, let me thank the coordinator, Dr. Shamila Jayatilaka, and the organizing committee of Ures 2017 for all the hard work they shouldered to make this day a nostalgic memory. And also, I would like to thank the editor-in-chief and the staff for the immense guidance and the dedication they have proved upon us. Finally, I would like to conclude by congratulating and wishing success to all my colleagues who will be showcasing their research work today at Ures 2017. Thank you.
Thank you, Dinukar. Please rise for the national anthem.
Sri Lanka Mata, Apa Sri Lanka, Namo 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 Mata, Sundara Sri Lanka, Sundari Lanka, Sundara Lanka, Sini seta sadhana jeevana mata ganu mere apava puja namo namo mata Apa Sri
Thank you. There are some announcements to be made. Refreshments are ready at third floor lecture rooms for all the invitees and staff, and first floor lobbies for students. All are welcome to enjoy. Please note that the technical sessions would be starting at 10:55 am. We kindly request you to be at the respective locations of the session on time. Please refer the information in your folders for further clarification. I would also like to mention there are presentations from our best school inventors on the research work just after the first technical session at the mini auditorium. All are welcome for that also. Thank you all.